Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Dream Drop Long Distance, a podcast about two friends playing Kingdom Hearts and trying to sound half as cool as their new theme song. My name's Mitchell Orsino, and with me is my co-host, Kyle Bradshaw. What's up, Kyle?
Oh, man, it's been one heck of a week. As Mitch alluded to in the intro, we have a fancy new theme song we are hearing for the first time. You guys, if you have been listening, have probably heard it about 10 times now. But for us, it's fresh and it's really cool. It's a nice little piece inspired by Dearly Beloved, the theme music to the opening screen of Kingdom Hearts, and quite a few entries in the game, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, Kyle, this is a collaboration with a good friend of yours, correct? He, somebody who's coming in, very good musical talent, for sure.
Yeah, this is by my good friend Alex McLean. I asked him to whip up a little something to help me out with this project we've been working on, and oh my God, did he deliver.
Man, Alex, seriously, dude. Clutch, great. Like, this is amazing, man. Definitely wanted to give you a big shout out. I guess I would assume we'd want to put his information in the notes in case anybody wants to reach out for stuff like that.
Alex's information is in the notes if anybody wants to check him out. He's actually got his first concert coming up soon.
Whoa!
But that's for another day.
Heck yeah, very good. I guess outside of us geeking out about our new theme song, let's dive in, Kyle, because we are officially in the deep.
Yes, indeed we are. We thought we were in the deep when we got to Hollow Bastion. We thought, okay, this is the real deal. This is the end of the game. Things are about to start getting real serious now. It's about to get a lot harder. And it wasn't too bad, at least not for both of us. But this week, this has been hell.
Oh, man. I guess we should talk about where we stopped last time. We just got done with the big Maleficent fight.
Both of them. The dragon fight, which probably one of the cooler fights in the game. By and large, yeah, absolutely. After that Maleficent fight, you're brought to yet another boss battle, but thankfully the game designers were kind enough to let you save and heal up in between.
Thank God. That, I will say, them dropping a save healing point directly after that fight, I don't think I've ever breathed like a sigh of relief in a video game that hard in quite a long time.
Yeah. And you're dumped into this big room when you do decide to proceed forward. And inside you see the princess-powered super weapon, as you put it, with the princesses here in stasis, including Alice, Jasmine, ones we haven't been introduced to, like Belle and Cinderella.
Yeah, I think, who else? Sleeping Beauty or Aurora, I guess is their name.
Yeah, Aurora, yeah.
Yeah, but most of the mainstream princesses that are outside of I guess what they would consider like some of the new like current princesses. Like I know in the later games they add in like Mulan and a bunch of other stuff like that, but these are classic old school Disney princesses. Yeah, but I mean it's basically you walk up into this room that you can tell these princesses have been like crystallized and they're being used to power this heartless shaped gate,
which is not really explained all that well. I mean, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
But you walk into this little arena, and the first thing that happens is Goofy is blocked out, and Donald goes to run to his aid. So that's already a bad sign. Like, oh, okay, I'm down my two party members, my homeboy, my sweet cheese.
Mm-hmm. So the notes that I put down are Goofy gets smacked by the shield immediately, knocked completely out of the arena. And I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, that sucks, but at least maybe I'll have my healer. And then, you're greeted by Riku, or I guess not Riku. It's his now possessed form, which is Ansem.
Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness.
Yeah, and he goes into a whole big spiel about how he's now trying to use this to summon forth the darkness to become more powerful. And my next note was Donald, for some godforsaken reason, sees this almost deity-looking person and is like, I'm going to run up and try to hit this dude. And immediately, Donald gets smacked back to reality, and he just backhand slaps Donald away right through the shield. And I'm just like, Donald, what the fuck have I been boosting you for, man? Like, that was nothing. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess it's going to be a one-on-one fight.
Yeah, and they do. I really think they did a good job of making it clear that this is not Riku. Like, yes. Before he even introduces himself as Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, the body of Riku refers to Kairi as that girl. Very clear that this is not Riku anymore. Riku cares about Kairi.
Yes, I completely agree. And Ansem does not give a damn. And I will say he should have taken Riku's blade, because it was on the ground, and then he picks it up, and I'm like, oh no, we messed up again. At which point you're then having to fight it.
This honestly was a really fun fight. It was hard, but not too hard. Like once you got the gist of, okay, just roll, and you'll be okay. This was fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it got annoying toward the end of it, where it's like, okay, I know the mechanic now. Just let me get my last 3 swings in so you can die already. But other than that, good mechanics, fun to learn, and then it ended. It was nice.
Yeah, it set a tone to almost show yourself that you've learned, at least the core mechanics enough to be able to fight one-on-one against one of the stronger characters. And it also kind of is like a test of your current builds to see where you're at, because he does have some area of effect attacks, and I think he even has that one ability where he becomes invulnerable for a few seconds and you have to be able to dodge him. But yeah, I thought it was a fun fight. I think it took me maybe 2, only because I screwed up and I didn't understand his fight system very well the first time, but after that it wasn't very difficult.
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where around this time is the point where you're going to start having an easier time with these fights than I am, because you're going to be leveling up a lot faster than I am.
Oh, I've actually already noticed. Like, the levels have been blasting through. I can't remember exactly where I'm at, but I know I definitely bumped, at least 7 or 8 since the last time we played.
Yeah, and that's all because your journey left at night. Mm-hmm. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but so I guess you wind up beating him.
And it's a pretty big moment, too, because Sora decides that the best way to set Kairi's heart free, because Riku, or now Ansem, has told him that Kairi's heart is inside of him, which happened all the way back in the Destiny Islands. Sora decides that to unlock Kairi's heart, he's going to just stab himself, sacrifice himself with that special Keyblade that Ansem used on Maleficent.
The dude's over here committing seppuku. He just stabbed himself in the chest, and Donald and Goofy lose their minds because, of course, I think it's, Riku actually says that, like, my sword is the ability to, like, unlock people's hearts. So Sora's like, oh, well, if it can unlock a heart, you can just stab directly into his breastplate.
Yeah, I don't know. This was a really powerful moment for me. I enjoyed this so thoroughly. Like, Sora knew exactly what he was doing, too, because that smile right at the end, before he stabbed, and then Simple and Clean beginning to play in the background as Donald and Goofy are running. Oh my God, this was a really emotionally impactful moment for me.
It is a very impactful moment. But right before then, also, Riku's spirit does appear because Ansem was going to try to keep attacking, and he kind of holds him at bay, basically being like, you're not going to, take me over completely. Like, I'm going to keep fighting you. And there's a lot that happens where it's like, you just get your first taste of what's probably going to be the big bad at the end. You get to see Riku not only to make up for the fact that he let himself be taken over by this, and then right on top of that, you have Sora now sacrificing himself. So it's just like this boom, boom, boom of story elements happening.
Yeah, completely crazy, the stuff that's all happening in a 5-minute span. But yeah, the force of Riku's will comes through and is able to hold Ansem back long enough for Kairi, Donald, and Goofy to make their escape.
And they do. And they take off. And, we're greeted by Sora falling through the darkness as his heart disappears. And we play through, one of the goofier, I find, and not super necessary parts of this game, in my opinion, where, and I know later on you do know why it's necessary.
Yeah. absolutely critical that this moment happened, but still, yeah.
Yeah, but Sora comes back as, or what you think is Sora, as a little, one of the smaller, like, soldier heartless.
Little heartless shadow.
Yeah, but, you know, it comes back as like a group of 5 of them, and all 5 kind of split off, and one is just standing there, and you basically are following the trail that Kairi, Donald, and Goofy left to get to them.
Yeah, this one was a little tricky when I was young, because I was like, God, I don't remember how to get back anywhere. I don't know where I'm going. But having played this game a couple times, it was pretty straightforward. Just be like, okay, hop down here, hop down there, do that, dip, bop, boop, bop, boom. Then I knew exactly where I was supposed to be trying to go. So it was pretty easy. But I don't know, how did you navigate the castle as the Heartless?
Oh, man, I mean, I had a feeling that it was like, okay, we have to go, because they kept going and going, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to jump. I literally was just jumping off the ledges until I got back to the library, and then I saw them go through the library, and I was like, okay, cool. And then they were in the very next open area. So it was actually pretty easy. I guess I've played through it enough where I kind of had an idea on where they might wind up, because some of the areas didn't really seem very story relevant. Yeah,
that makes sense, because you do end up in the same room that the first Riku fight happened in.
Yes. Then you get back to that room. Donald, Goofy, and Kairi are being attacked by Heartless, and they're kind of like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" I can't remember exactly. I think they wind up fighting off most of them, except then Heartless Sora walks up, and Donald tries to attack it, and Goofy's like, "Oh, hold on, that one's acting weird."
He's just bonking him on the head with his staff. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, just sitting here whacking him, and he's just like, "Hey, dude, chill." And at which point Kairi kind of looks at it like, this one's, he seems so familiar.
Sora, is that you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then my next note was power of the hug, as she hugs him, and her magical hugging abilities, which I guess kind of go to show what her power really is and where it can go later on, is she turns Sora back from Heartless to himself.
You know, I never really thought about it that way.
That one kind of dawned, because I mean, there was so much before this that leads you into think, like, you know, she's from here. There's all this backtracking story plot that it's like, okay, maybe she has some kind of connection to this place and some power lying in this realm. And by her being able to hug him, it not only shows their connection, but that she's probably got some underlying abilities that we don't know about yet.
And they never fully develop in the way that you'd like them to. Like, spoiler alert, all the way through the end of the Kingdom Hearts games that are available to us today, Kairi just remains this damsel in distress character, and it's so depressing.
Yeah, it's kind of whack. I think, and no, we're not going to go hard into this, but yeah, I do. Even after the end of the game, the current games, I wish they would have given her a bit more. I think she kind of deserved that, but who knows?
Yeah. Maybe 4 will do the difference.
Maybe 4, whenever that one comes out.
Next decade. But anyway, so with that bit resolved, you are brought all the way back to Traverse Town. You basically run for your lives, as it were. Head back to Traverse Town to bring Kairi there, and you have to talk to Leon and Sid and all of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to talk about here. You go and you do a little fetch quest for Sid to get a new gummy that will get you to the last world in the game.
No.
Or no?
No, what happens is you find out that Hollow Bastion is not available anymore as a destination, and you talk to Sid, and he mentions that he stashed a navigation gummy 9 years ago, which tells me that 9 years ago, Sid fled from Hollow Bastion with all the rest of them.
See, I didn't even catch that. That's funny. I definitely missed that part.
Yeah, so what you have to do is you have to go down to the waterway, and there's I forget if it's a moon or a sun, it's one or the other, and you go look at it, and it turns into the other one, turns into the moon, and gives you the navigation gummy.
That's what it was. Okay, because I had down It's a fetch quest for Sid, Kyrie being weird about a wall, and then a gummy appears. So, okay, that makes sense now. I was like, I think I got my brain, the order of the story, because I knew it was Sid sends you on a quest to go find the navigation gummy. And at some point, Kyrie is like looking at a wall being like, this is such a pretty sun, but it seems kind of interesting. And I'm like, man, you guys are just beating us over the head with the location of this thing.
I'm glad they did, to be honest with you, because if you're not looking for it and you don't know that it's there, you may not turn the camera the right way to even notice that it is there, especially when this game first came out and you couldn't just use the right stick to control the camera and turn it over that way.
Mm-hmm.
So no. I can only imagine that people would miss that if they didn't have a couple extra cues.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I mean, right after that, there is, I'd say, probably one of the more emotional conversations up to this point between...
For you, anyway.
Yeah. Between
we'll get into that. We'll get into why it was emotional for you and not so much for me. We'll get into that in a minute. But go ahead, please. Please give them the real explanation.
So the real explanation is Sora and Kyrie go into this long, very heartfelt conversation about how they got to that point and how they're connected. How Sora has to go and finish this, and one of my probably favorite parts of this game so far was Sora tells Kyrie throughout all of this, he's like, I need you to stay here because it's dangerous. And Kyrie's like, no, I'm going to come with you. And when he tells her, like, no, you stay here, I don't know if the animators meant to make her face this fucking funny, but he's like, no, you stay here. And they animated her face as that, like, dead-eyed, lips pursed, just not blinking, staring at him as he's telling her this. And dude, it is everybody will understand when they play it. It is the funniest freaking thing I have ever, like, just she cold stare, gives him this fuck you look, and it's only just because they didn't want to animate a real expression, but it's so funny, man. I paused and laughed for about a good 3 minutes when I saw it. I was like, this is amazing. Like, completely just so good. And then she winds up being like, well, look, take my lucky charm. It'll protect you. And it's, the charm that she made back on the island. And she's like, you got to make sure and bring it back to me. Basically, it's her saying, like, you got to bring this back to me because that way I know you'll come back safe. And he promises. And then, you take off. But Kyle actually had a completely different experience than I did to this scene.
Yeah, so I was, in a hurry. I don't know how to describe it. I was just rolling. I was dodge rolling my way back over toward Kyrie because I didn't know the cutscene was about to play.
It's so good.
And for some reason, I triggered the cutscene in mid dodge roll, which just fucked up everything. Every single thing that could go wrong after that point went wrong. So anytime that Sora was supposed to be in one spot, he was somewhere completely different. So Kyrie was often talking to nobody. Like even when she puts the Oathkeeper charm in his hand, she just puts it in midair and there's nothing there to grab it. It just floats there for a minute. And Sora's talking about how he's drifting in darkness and he's afraid he's going to lose himself. He's just where he's supposed to just be falling and it's supposed to be this like tragic thing. He's just swinging wildly in the air. Wah, 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 wah. I can't describe it in full depth, but if you're interested, there's a link to it in the notes. It's not the way the cutscene was supposed to go. It's supposed to be emotional, but God, it was funny.
Dude, anybody absolutely worth the like 3 minutes of watching. I think, I don't know how exactly the game placed you in some spots, but there are points where you were in like this like lower third with your back turned, or just like standing off to the side in the water as she's trying to deliver this very emotional exposition. And the game put you in these spots that were just incredible. And it's yeah, like you said, link in the description. It's going to be amazing. You'll love it.
I wasn't ready for that. I was like, oh man, okay, I gotta pay attention. I gotta take notes. I gotta do the professional thing to prepare for the next episode, and I'm just like, God, what is happening to me right now?
It was pretty great. But okay, we get moving.
So yeah, Kyrie finishes giving her spiel, whether it is funny because of her funny faces or funny because of what Sora is doing. Whichever case it is, after that, there's this interesting cutscene where you get to see where Riku is right now, having been perhaps banished from Ansem's heart. Riku is in this pathway, this dark, dark pathway with basically nothing around except a voice calling out to him.
You actually you don't hear the voice, though. It's just this mumbled kind of off, and it's basically somebody calling to him, trying to bring him back. Somebody trying to find him. And it's been a while. I kind of think I know who it is, but I'm just guessing.
I can tell you almost exactly who it is, and it becomes even funnier because, like, in the moment when you're watching the cutscene for the first time, oh man, this mystery voice, they don't want to reveal who it is. They're being secretive about it. Ooh, I wonder who that could be. But the real reason is that voice is Mickey Mouse, and contractually they could only show Mickey Mouse one time all the way soon.
Funny enough, I thought the exact same thing. It was like, if this is Mickey, they probably were limited to how much they could use him because the game was new. So Disney wasn't willing to give them.
That's actually not what it was.
No?
That's not what it was. Actually, there was another game coming out right about the same time as Kingdom Hearts, and they had the Mickey Mouse rights. They're like, Mickey Mouse is appearing in this other game, so he can't appear here.
Anyway, but so the guess right now that we're thinking of is it's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, but then right here in this moment, they played up for a cool factor. It's almost like these are JRPG developers who know how to make characters mysterious and cool.
No, it's pretty good. But so that happens. And so we meet this mystery voice. And we get done with that scene. And we talk to the princesses. And where do we go after that, Kyle?
Before we head back to Hollow Bastion with that new navigation coming, did you go back and see Merlin? Or not Merlin, did you go back and see the fairy godmother?
I did, to get the last summon.
Yeah. Because once you get that last summon, I want to say she gives you a new staff for Donald too.
She does. I feel bad. I don't remember.
Lord Fortune is what I have written down.
Yes, that is the one. I got more excited about getting this new summon than I did about that staff, because the staff didn't really do a lot for my build for Donald. But who did we get as a summon?
That would be Mushu. I haven't summoned him yet to know what he's like, but have you? I
have. Mushu is kind of like, it's like a fire spitting pellet gun, where it's his magic is as long as you lock onto a certain opponent, he kind of like shoots small fireballs, very like rapid fire at them. So you kind of get like take pot shots at Heartless. Not the strongest summon. Honestly, I think I would still prefer Genie over Mushu.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was just about to ask too, to see if you'd like Genie better, because they sound like they fit similar niches.
They are very similar. I would say they are very similar. But I feel like Genie is still more versatile than Mushu, because not only will he do like, is it like pow 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 pow, but he'll do gravity wells and all this other kind of stuff. So I guess Mushu is more consistent in what you're trying to do, so you know exactly what he's going to do. Whereas I find like Genie is more versatile, but you don't 100% know what he's going to hit him with. So kind of pick your poison there.
I got you. So with that, you go back to Hollow Bastion after all that, and you have to walk the whole castle all over again because the game designers are cruel.
They just love making you redo this map over and over and over again.
Which I understand. You can tell they put a lot of care and effort into its design from top to bottom. Every single piece of this castle was thought through. Like, I can only imagine the hours and hours and hours that were spent. It just, not in the way that it looks, but just the core design of the map. I can't imagine how much effort they put into that.
Yeah, no, I agree. They did put a lot of effort. Like, I'm not dogging it. It's just later on in the game, I wish there was a slightly more straightforward way to get from one end to the other. But it is what it is.
Yeah, just like a convenience elevator. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Like, okay, you unlock the door, or, oh, okay, you went all the way up to the top of the castle. You can activate this elevator. It takes you all the way back down. Mm-hmm. That'd be nice for grinding, too. That way you could just do laps of the castle or something. But
that would be very nice.
But anyway, we're not that lucky.
Nope.
As you're on your way up, you find that the princesses have been set free. They were all set free at the same time that Sora stabbed himself, because at the same time that he released Kairi's heart out of himself, the other 6 hearts that were in the Keyblade were released, looking like the Dragon Balls. I think that even the machine that Ansem was trying to power was activated in that moment, too.
I believe it was. I think it was turned on, but it wasn't, like, fully opened, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So, but the princesses are staying behind to hold the thing at bay, and you can talk to them for a little bit. If you talk to Belle at one point, I don't know if it's now or if it's a little later, you get a new Keyblade.
That's actually right now.
Yeah, the Divine Rose, I think it's called.
Yes.
And that's a good Keyblade. I think that's one that you're going to be using, right?
That's my current. That's my best one that I have. Divine Rose, I believe it's a +9 Keyblade. It gives a +1 to MP. I think it has a slight crit chance to... It's kind of crazy. Like, all the other princesses are hanging out together, and you find Belle in the Hollow Bastion Castle Library, at which point Beast comes in and they're reunited, and as a thank you, she gives you this Keyblade. And I would say this is arguably the best Keyblade in the game until, you get the obvious ones later. But even...
Yeah.
I've even got, even the Oblivion, I checked it against, and yeah, Divine Rose takes it by storm. I was kind of surprised that one that you got from a princess is still outlasting most of the other ones that I got.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to work too hard for it, but it is like, hey, take a detour. You could miss this one just as easily as you could miss Oblivion.
You can, yeah, and I was very surprised with how easily you could have missed the Oblivion one.
Yeah, like a chest up behind. Yeah, it's in a weird spot. You'd have to want to explore the room to find it, which, I mean, you should want to do anyway because it's a JRPG. You should want to explore every part of every map.
Every corner. Yeah.
So after talking with the princesses, you are encouraged to stop whatever it is that Ansem is trying to do with this machine, the princess-powered super weapon. You're trying to, I guess you go inside of it. You go into the portal that's opened, and there's a big boss waiting for you, the behemoth boss, which is this big 4-legged creature with a horn on its head. And I will say right now, and this is mild spoilers for the rest of the game, but the creators of Kingdom Hearts really like this Heartless.
God,
you fight this thing so many times.
Yeah, just between now and the end of the game, yes, they consistently throw this thing at you. And it's not even like it's a hard fight. It's just like, good God, could we, for like a miniature, like a very, not even like a mini boss, like a minuscule boss, this is the one that I'm like, all right, this one's getting a little repetitive.
He just has so much health, and he's so easy once you know that, okay, you jump on his back, and that's the end of the fight. Like,
you jump on his back, whack his horn more to try. If you break his combo, just keep whacking his horn, because the only thing you can hit is his horn. The rest of him doesn't really take damage. But it's like a gargantuan-sized Heartless that it takes a while to bring him down, because he does have like 5 bars of health, but not a very difficult fight once you understand the mechanic.
Yeah, it's just an annoying one. They keep throwing them at you over and over and over again. But for this first time, it's a cool moment. It's like, whoa, this thing's huge. I've never fought a Heartless this big before. So you go in, you kick its ass, and then right as you're about to lock the door or lock the keyhole, like, it sounds like our friends are outside. Thank you, Goofy. Let's go look.
Goofy.
And you go back out of the portal and you find Leon and Yuffie and
Tifa.
Oh, yeah. Leon, Yuffie, Tifa, and I think Aerith's there too.
I can't remember if Aerith was there, but I know Sid wasn't there. But Geppetto should have been there to give me a new plane.
What?
Like the more Heartless you kill. It's like by that point, I've killed so many new Heartless. I should be getting a new gummy jet. Like he should be hand delivering that thing to me by now.
Oh my God, yeah. And
no, so like you said, you get out and they have a whole conversation with you, kind of thanking you but you find out that this was like their world.
Yeah, you had only alluded to it before because they knew of this place and they kept talking about Ansem and how he was a wise ruler. And yet now here is Ansem, this seeker of darkness and main villain of the game. So I don't know what to make of any of it.
Yeah, they kind of they left a lot out in the last couple conversations we've had. I'll give them that much.
Yeah. So there's something going on. I'm not quite sure what it is, but something happened 9 years ago. That is for certain. If we start piecing the puzzles together.
Yeah, and then Leon drops all that news to you, like some good news about, these things are going well now, and some of the worlds are being put together, but also, we have to go and beat this guy. But if we do, then all of the worlds should go back to normal, but it separates them to where there's no longer a way to travel between them. You could kind of tell, so it makes Sora sad because he's like, well, does that mean I get to see any of you guys again? And of course they give him like, well, probably not, but we'll always be connected. And so that's kind of a sad moment where you start to realize that when we beat this enemy, it might be like a forever goodbye.
Yeah, as Leon puts it, we may never meet again, but we'll never forget each other.
Leon.
That's it.
Yep, it's classic Leon.
I've never heard Leon's voice outside of the context of Kingdom Hearts, but for some reason, when he delivered that line this time, I thought to myself that he sounded a lot like Owen Wilson. I don't know why.
No.
No? You didn't hear it?
I couldn't. Oh, God, you're ruining Leon for me. Moving on. We close the keyhole to Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, we closed the keyhole inside of Hollow Bastion. I don't really know if that was the heart of the world or if that was the heart of hearts from the super weapon or somewhere in between the two, but whatever, it's sealed. We've done the job, right?
Yeah. But then, like you said, we move on. Right before, for some reason, Cinderella is able to give you the upgrade to the fire spell, which is Faraga. And I'm just like, Cinderella, fire spell. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, it's kind of funny. And where do we go after that?
Well, one more thing to do here is that Aerith is somewhere. I don't know if she was in that same room, but Aerith is somewhere, and she gives you the remainder of Ansem's reports.
That I forgot about that part.
I'm not even sure if I picked them up. I was reading through the guide, and I'm like, oh, right, those. I forgot about those. So we have almost the entirety of Ansem's report now. There are actually 3 more pages that are new to the final mix that we will unlock on a future episode, and then we will discuss those reports in detail, because I think it's a fun little bit of lore.
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, it is probably one of the cooler parts of the lore in this game.
So you seal the keyhole, you talk to Aerith, and then you're able to go to the final destination of Kingdom Hearts 1, which is End of the World.
Yes.
And oddly enough, at the exact same time, Chip and Dale decide that this is a great time to tell you that the Hades Cup has opened, but we'll get to that a little later on. So we navigate to End of the World, which, oh my god, Mitchell, this gummy mission is insane. I struggled on this. This is one of the few ones where I actually literally died more than one time trying to get to End of the World.
Oh man, see that's very fun. I died once and then went, okay, and I went and I souped my ship up. I'm talking 2 Ultima guns, like multi-weapon, shield, repulsor. I have, like, by the time I got done, I think I got touched twice.
Oof. Dang.
And I think I was just like, nope, I'm not going to keep doing this run. So I spent probably like 30 to 45 minutes rebuilding the high wind and just made it an absolute monster. But I do agree, this one, they threw the dictionary at you when it came to like heartless and ships and asteroids. And it was just like, and it wasn't even like the load time was so fast on some of them. Like they would just appear in front of you and it's like, oh shit, okay, I guess I got to shoot that now.
Yeah, I don't even know what they were doing with this. And some of the ones that they were putting up there, they really took a hit too. Like I think there were some that I just was not able to actually finish off, and I just had to dodge them because I was not putting enough damage on them.
Yeah,
it's got me thinking though that maybe in the notes we'll put a link to screenshots of what our ridiculous ships look like, because I imagine that neither of us has gone for aesthetic here.
Oh,
so
no,
we just have these big, stupid, clunky looking ships that are just like a Katamari ball flying through space at this point.
Dude, mine is so like, it's things that aren't even like technically attached to one another. But
yes,
but like it works, I guess. But no, I think we're very much in the same realm where it was just like, whatever, just put it on there. Does it work? Will the game let me do it? Cool. But yes, we will screen cap our ships, and we will add them to the notes so people can make fun of our Frankenstein monstrosities.
You even have an art background, and you're just like, nah, forget about it. I'm gonna
the graphic design aspect of it, I was just like, I do not care. Function over fashion. Well, let's do it.
Right. So anyway, you get through that difficult gummy mission, and you end up at End of the World, which is kind of a cool name. And you have a bunch of weird battles that you have to navigate in a map that's invisible because I don't know.
It's a weird one.
Follow the arrows on the ground.
Yeah, but I don't even think they had arrows. It really was more. So it's just this wide open void that looks like kind of like a pinkish water, and the only real direction you get is you see these chests off in the distance, and you kind of bounce, like run between them. Otherwise, you kind of hit this invisible wall.
Yes, but also where each chest is sitting on a piece of rock that is in the shape of a triangle, and the triangle points to the next place to go.
Oh, I did not even notice that.
Yeah, so I mean, I imagine that it was like subconsciously there, and you figured it out anyway by just running from one chest to another. I didn't like this room. It was weird, and they'd try and surprise you by just having a fight fall down from the sky on top of you. I don't know. This was a bit messy, but the world itself is messy, so I guess that makes sense.
I wrote down travel to End of Worlds, and then the very next note was the fights are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will say the fights, much like the first time we walked into Hollow Bastion, the difficulty curve went up again. The enemies you're fighting in this level are not cheap. They hit hard. They have AoE effects. They swarm. It's just, good God, man, that they just keep cranking it up on you. And which, I mean, I appreciate. Like, the game so far has never been super easy. So it creates a challenge. Be prepared. This level is not a cakewalk from the beginning. The moment you walk in, one of the very first fights, you're getting absolutely obliterated.
The way that these new Heartless work too is just incredible. Like you have to learn their mechanics very quickly, or you are going to die. Yes. Like the way that they throw, I think it's called the Invincibles. The way that they throw their sword into the ground and then swarm you with this circle that you have to dodge out of at just the right time. Oh my God, what a pain!
They basically, it's like they drop a sword. I started calling it their hex. It's like this will-o-wisp looking thing. And I've noticed there are times where I will dodge roll out of the way, but if Goofy or Donald are next to me and they get caught in it, it affects them instead. Because they're
dead.
Oh, they cannot take it. I notice when I get hit by it, it's about half my health. They get hit by it, I'm bringing them back. And I was like, ooh, okay, pay attention to that. And also, there are, among these like kind of flying knight-looking heartless, there are the, I call them the white-winged angels. They kind of remind me of, if anybody's seen Evangelion, it kind of reminds me of an angel. It's got like a triangular shaped form with these beautiful white wings, and they're very magic based. When they cover themselves with their wings, they're basically invincible for a small amount of time, and they throw out all of this stuff that's just like every time it hits you. Good God, man. They're slow, but they hit like tanks.
Yeah, and my favorite spell is I think they actually absorb it, if I remember correctly. Like if I use lightning on them, they are healing instead. So what I'd often do is I just blast the heck out of lightning to get rid of the invincibles, and then I'd focus on the angels. Because golly, man, these fights are intense.
Yeah, that's funny. I do the opposite because I know I can take an invincible in probably 2 to 3 aerial combos. But the angels, if it's them pot-shotting me from the back of the room, the invincibles, I can't take them. So the moment I see the angels, I am beelining to them to take them out.
I guess it just speaks to our different playstyles because I rely so heavily on lightning to get me through these combats.
I mean, we did pick 2 different builds.
Absolutely. You are very physical about these things. So for you, smack the heck out of one, smack the heck out of the other. It doesn't really make a difference. But for me, it's like, oh no, those guys are not only immune, but they absorb my attack. So it's
I bet that was an interesting revelation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. It's like, okay, cool. I finally got this one down. Let me just... Oh God, it has more health now. No. So, yeah. But you get through the chaos room. You
get some decent items in here too.
Really? Because I kind of wrote down, my notes had random battles for little treasures.
I mean, I think it wasn't like, not like good, like no AP ups and stuff, but you got some little things, some synthesis items, stuff like that. I mean, I've been in levels where I've done hard fights and gotten like worse items. So
yeah, I'll give you that.
And so I was like, whatever. I mean, I think it was just like this level, this opening room felt more like an introduction to what we were about to get thrown at.
Yeah, which I'm not remembering the order of everything that happens here. I want to say you're brought into this big, enormous chamber, which has all of the mechanics that they basically had only ever included in the Tarzan world. So, like, you got climbing on vines, you've got shimmying along walls.
Oh, you're talking about the chasm.
Yeah, the chasm, yeah.
So the very next area you walk into is this. I love this little area. It's kind of multicolored, glowing rocks and plants chasm that it does. It has looks like snow on the ground that requires you to go between platforms. And I mean, really, you can explore it all, which is great, but you don't have to. The main point is get from the top to the bottom to this portal.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot to find in here. I mean, It's fun to explore it. Like they put some effort into it, but you get through, which it's kind of complicated to even figure out where you're trying to go from here. But then you find, okay, there's a shining hole in the ground. Let me jump in there and see what happens.
It's pretty on the nose. It's like, oh, where do I go? Oh, well, there's a rift at the very other opposite side of the map. I guess I'll jump in it.
You jump in there, and it brings you to a series of citadels, I guess would be how I'd describe it. I'm not really sure. These odd chambers that have colored portals in the middle. I think you can even bypass them, but I didn't. I fought through each one. I think you could bypass all of them except the last one, but
I think it's completely worth going through each one just for a little bit of memory lane.
Yeah. Because so you get these portals that are in the center, and each one brings you to a lookalike of one of the worlds that you've explored previously on your journey, starting in Traverse Town and working all the way down.
In the Neverland map that you do a little fight through, you do get a new shield for Goofy. And I remember looking at the stat line, texting Kyle and going like, Goofy is now stronger than Donald and I by far, and it makes me upset. And Kyle being like, I know, he's the same on my team. Goofy is an animal.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Massive Bumper is the name of the shield. Like, why? What is that name even supposed to imply? What is that design? Is Goofy a part of a pinball machine now? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm paraphrasing what we said, but I think like we both very much were just like, why is Goofy this powerful now? Like his strength goes up, his defense, he is the tank. To me, it's a very good thing you get that shield when you do.
Yeah.
Because once you get through all these, the very last one.
Are you talking about the last one as in the one for Hollow Bastion or the one just past that?
The one just past that.
Because the Hollow Bastion one is confusing to me. Because where all of the other ones are a location that you've been to before, the Hollow Bastion one is not. You're brought into this room that has a computer in it or something, and you like activate the computer and it spits a whole bunch of text out to you. I don't know what this thing is.
That one was weird. I felt like that was less like a Hollow Bastion world, and maybe they were giving you a glimpse at something that Ansem was using at the time in that realm.
Yeah, I guess so. And I feel like you get to like read part of his personal notes or something, because like the stuff that it's talking about, the most concise thing that I can pull out of it is 7 hearts, 1 keyhole, 1 key to the door, the door of darkness, tied by 2 keys. So good. Dramatic, right?
Very good. That was very good.
I don't. Thank you. So. I mean, like, I know what this is talking about, but it's very weird that it's put out this way. Like, that they have to just ham fist you with it. You know, like, okay, hey man, 7 hearts, the princesses, 1 keyhole. You sealed that thing. 1 key to the door of darkness. It's coming up.
I know it's weird.
I don't know what they're getting at here.
I kind of honestly, I'm glad you even mentioned it. I kind of blocked that. I wrote it down. I was just kind of like, I don't even know if that one's worth talking about.
It's so weird. Like,
I was just, it felt just so off from the rest of it. Like, it was cool. And I guess I was kind of like, man, this could be something about Ansem, but they don't really give you enough to feed you on whether or not you're correct.
Yeah. So you get through that and you are opened to another portal, which takes you to easily the hardest boss fight that either of us have faced in the game thus far.
Oh my god.
With the best music out of any boss fight that we've faced thus far.
That is very true.
Mitchell, would you like to introduce this boss that we are about to be fighting?
Let me set the tone for what happens in this fight. So, Sora, Donald, and Goofy float down into this swirling grayish blue smoke cloud hurricane, and they're greeted to this what looks like a mountaintop with this winged ball on the top of it. All of a sudden, the music starts to swell as the villain's theme from Fantasia starts to play, and the wings spread, and we're greeted by the demon Chernabog, who. At which point, Sora, his reaction and face is just mouth agape, eyebrows up. There's no dialogue at all. It's just pure shock as this enormous, just hell demon appears before you. No talking. Fight begins. And you are entered into combat. And it's a flying type combat. Where, because he's so big, you have to fly around him.
Yeah, which brings us back to the mechanics from Little Mermaid.
Well, I was going to say Neverland.
Oh, yeah, Neverland too. It's the same. It's all the same when you think about it. Like, the swimming and the flying are all exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Or almost exactly the same. At least Sora has legs when you're flying. But you have to get over to the back of his neck, and basically that's the only safe place. And even then, it's not that safe. At least it's safer than it was for Ursula.
Oh man,
But,
this one.
God, yeah, you go ahead, because I took him in like 3, maybe 4 tries, where I know for you is a lot harder.
I took him in 8.
Which is still respectable.
Yeah, I guess I had to do a pretty big rebuild. Or not big, but I had to swap. I basically took every ability Sora had that revolved around ground-based combat, like slide dash and all that other shit. Guard, took that off, everything. And I put everything into crit plus, finally got leaf bracer, all these things that I knew would be beneficial to me just staying alive. So Chernabog basically has a couple of abilities that really do make him a threat. He will inhale and spew fire. You'll see him kind of put his hands out and he creates these wisps that track you and will hit multiple times if you aren't careful. He'll like kind of swat the air when it doesn't hurt you. It just blows you to the other side of the arena. I guess it's kind of a way of like clearing.
That's the most frustrating one to me. Yeah.
It was annoying, especially when you were in the middle of a combo and all of a sudden you were just on the other side of the map. But obviously, the most painful move that he could do is there's a brief pause and he raises his hands and summons just this torrent of flame from below you for a good couple of seconds. And if you don't get out of it, he's hitting you at least 3 times in a row with that. And it's almost an instant kill.
Yeah. So there's 2 saving graces, I think, here. I didn't end up using one of them because I am a dummy. But one you can use is Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell's really useful here. I think you can summon her, and she heals you for one thing, just constantly. But she also counts like a fairy in Legend of Zelda, and so if you go down, you get brought back up. You can only use it once per encounter, but it's very, very useful. You have that saving grace, and then Leaf Bracer. Leaf Bracer doesn't just stop attacks from breaking the cure. It actually makes you immune while you are casting cure. So you can get hit once by that exploding effect, cast cure, and while it's being cast, one of the hits goes by completely ignoring you, and then you get hit again still. But at least you have a heal in between. You're not just immediately destroyed with nothing left to do.
Yeah, that was... Leaf Bracer really is a godsend in this fight to me. The other thing that I found that helped me when I finally beat him was I started during the fight, because he has a lot of health. I think he has like 5 or 6 bars, and it's hefty. And I remember I started to pay a lot of attention over his last 3 moves and starting to anticipate when I thought he was going to use the Hellfire. And I would just even if I had to, I would stop a combo and fly off into the distance. Almost every time I could predict about when he was going to use it. And that kept me from really taking that early damage that burned through all of my magic. Now, Donald and Goofy are stupid and would always go down. But that was the way I found to beat him. That did work.
Look at you being clever. You could have even comboed that with pressing triangle a couple times, and that probably would have called Donald and Goofy over to you and potentially saved them. Hard to say.
I forget you could even do that sometimes. I really do. But it did work.
I'm glad you had found a good strategy. That's awesome that you're able to predict him like that. I guess that's the way you're supposed to do it. I just brute forced it by healing over and over again. Mitchell, I think I have 15 MP.
Jesus.
Yeah, it feels like it's about to go off screen sometimes. I'm like, oh, why does he have that much?
That's so nuts. I think I have 6. I will say I also did tweak Donald to give him another 2 MP for this fight. So he was rocking about 8. And then Goofy has like 5 or 6, so he's able to share a bit. So Donald actually, I will give him that Donald saved me quite a few times on this fight.
Honestly, there's no better way to build Donald, in my opinion, than to just max out his MP. Like,
to me, Donald is a white mage or like a white mage paladin kind of build. Perfect. Like I I leave him alone nowadays because I'm just like, yeah, I don't really know a better way to build him. But so anyway, we beat Chernabog, and he kind of dives into his own hellfire and disappears, and they don't really tell you right away what you need to do, and then until you look down.
Yeah, you're just left in this expanse, and you're not given a save point. Unlike in Hollow Bastion, you're not given a clutch save point, unless there's a way to backtrack that I wasn't noticing. But the only way I saw was forward. So you carry on forward to a whole bunch more battles and a bunch more maps and things to explore and another behemoth and a whole bunch of fights beyond that in this never-ending room of Heartless, it feels like.
Dude, that basically as soon as you get done with Chernabog and you're like, okay, I'm a little low on everything, you're just in this one random little area with this Heartless shaped door. And the game is just like, okay, here's a behemoth. It's like, oh shit, all right, I'm going to fight a behemoth. You beat the behemoth, and then a piece of the door falls off. And then they just proceed to throw difficult Heartless wave at you over and I think I counted, it's like 15 waves. It's like fighting through a very difficult round of one of the Hercules or Hades cups. Like I remember texting you and being like, dude, what is this?
Yeah. Tinkerbell came in clutch for me here.
Yeah. I
used Tinkerbell. That was the only way that I survived because when I finally did beat this, which it took me 3 tries, I used Tinkerbell and I was able to get through it. But oh my God, it's so frustrating. Like you think you're doing good and then you realize that you stop paying attention to your health for a second and then you're just dead. One shot dead. So
I went back to my old system of focus one-on-one. I have like a tiered setup of these are like in terms of difficulty and what I think is going to affect me more. Take those out first. Boom, boom, boom. But I mean, it's just you never really knew what they were going to throw at you. And the door during the fight, if you look towards the door, you'll see that over the fight, as you keep beating things, pieces of it will fall off. But if you're not paying attention, you really don't get an idea of like how many you need to beat to finish this damn thing. So it just feels like, I mean, it was like a 20-minute fight. I was like, holy shit, dude, this thing, like, am I doing this wrong? Like, am I supposed to be doing something else?
Yeah, it does kind of feel like one of those moments like the castle fight or whatever you want to call it in Wonderland, where you have to like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I'm not supposed to keep fighting the guards over and over again. I'm supposed to beat up the castle. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I could see that, thinking that you're doing it wrong.
Yes. But it was like a mix of that and also these Heartless are not pulling punches, man.
No.
That is a tough fight. And then, of course, there was no save point for that. Or really, there's like no like progression save. So if you lose, you're starting all over again, starting from the behemoth. Not even the smaller heart, like the behemoth big fight that then transitions into the multi-level fight right after. Good God, the developers are assholes.
Absolutely. But we love them all the same.
We do.
They had to put some hard endgame content in here, I guess, but this isn't even the hard part if you really think about it, though.
No, which is insane. I'm upset with them, but also happy that they continue to give us things that challenge us and make it worth talking about.
But you finally get through that whole fight, and you're able to go through the Heartless-shaped door.
Yep.
You get through the door, and you're greeted by a save point and an ominous-looking door that should feel familiar to anybody who started the game. This is the same door that was available to you that during the dive to the deep.
Yes. But yeah, and thank God they give you a save point. Oh, that was... I mean, and it's so funny, too, because they give you that incredibly hard fight. And it's like putting a save point there was so clever because they knew what they were doing. They were like, these people are going to be so relieved to be done with this fight and to see this save point.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It's like, oh, thank goodness we made it. And then you realize, oh, this is the end of the game.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think about.
Like... this is your point of no return. Like, if you open that door, you are going to be at the end of the game. So that leaves us at an interesting point, Mitchell, wouldn't you say?
It does. Guys, I mean, this is the end game. And as we've been exploring this game with you through the podcast, I think, Kyle, I mean, I don't know how many episodes this ending is going to take, but, you know, we're pretty close to being to the end of this.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because we have some things left unfinished, too.
We do.
The Hades Cup has not been finished yet.
No.
And there are 3 boss fights that we need to do, at least. No. There might be more than that, actually. There are a lot of boss fights that we need to do.
Yeah, I think there's more than that.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Should we open the door and resolve what needs to be resolved and then go back for the other content? What do you think?
Well, man, I think, you know, I don't want to jump into the ending too soon because, like you said, we do have a bit we need to do. Let's go, you know, let's take our chances at the Hades Cup. Let's go see if we, you know, maybe there's some items or something we haven't gotten yet, or some enemies that we haven't got a chance. Because I know not only do they give you access to the Hades Cup? I haven't looked at it yet, but there is a multiple question mark option underneath the Hades Cup as well that I want to check out.
Yeah, I think I know what that is, and I'm scared to boot it up. So
I think I do too, and
we're not ready. We are certainly not ready for that fight.
We are not at all. We are so underleveled for that fight.
But we'll figure that out next time.
Yeah, but well, guys, thank you for. I know this is a slightly longer episode, but there was a lot to talk about, and we are very much looking forward to finishing up this game with you. And as always, Kyle, great talking with you.
Absolutely, you too, man. This has been so much fun. I love every chance that we get to just talk about this game like we're kids again.
Ah, dude, me too. Well, until next time, have a good one, listeners. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
Hey there, Kingdom Hearts fans. Thanks for listening to the episode. Dream Drop Long Distance is hosted by Mitchell Orsino and Kyle Bradshaw, and is produced by Kyle Bradshaw. Our theme music was written and recorded by Alex McLean.